Hey there everybody, it's me again with my next update. This video is actually going to be coming out a little bit later than I was planning on initially, because there's been a couple of setbacks. Now, add that on top of work, looking for a job, went on a camping trip with some friends last week, so didn't really do anything then. I've been working away at this, and I've got on screen here the basic code block for driving the DC motor right here using JoyStick and potentiometer combined. But the problem is the DC motor, the wiring's right here. I'm not sure if this is typical for DC motors that ship with Arduinos, but this one, of course, came in a small plastic baggie with the wires wrapped around it, and they were very stiff and more or less really inflexible. So just manipulating the wires, untying them from around the motor, getting them plugged in and all this, kind of started fraying them at the connections here. You can get a good idea right there just how thin the wire gauge is. So I ended up fixing that. I'll show that on screen, just a very patchwork solder job to get them reconnected. Which worked for a little bit, but now not so much. It was working up until a couple of minutes ago, and now it's just not really wanting to do anything. There's no response. Nothing. Let me go and pull up the serial monitor real quick so you can see. So I have it coded for a range from about here to here on the thumbstick or on the joystick to control the DC motor going forward, which in this case is kind of an arbitrary selection. This is just set to go forward. This is right here set to go backwards. But say if the joystick was placed like so, and of course it would be reversed. So it doesn't, it's just kind of how you end up getting final placement on the controller. But, that's neither here nor there. Look on the, I don't know why those are kind of up there in the search bar. So, right here. As you can see, the X values, the Y values, and the angle values are all pretty much right within the range that I have set for operation. Actually. Oh, actually, I think I figured out a problem. Did all that. Alright, well the motor's still not working, but the wires were kind of loose, so now the reading should be correct. There was a bit of an issue with that. So as you can see, this is the fun of coding and troubleshooting your wiring connections. You may have noticed on screen the angle value wasn't actually changing the way it was supposed to. That's because these came loose and I didn't notice it until literally just now. Go figure. But anyway, so back to the readings. The X values are pretty much within the range. There's tiny fluctuations outside of it, but not much. These are kind of finicky little instruments. Back again. And then down here for the reverse direction. It's all pretty much within the ranges it needs to be. And I did have it responding just a couple minutes ago before I started recording for this direction right here. And as you can tell, it's not anymore. A good telltale sign that I was able to determine for this responding was the green light right here on the sort of on the secondary power source was dimming a little bit whenever the motor would respond. You know, now it's not. So I think the soldering points right here, or yeah, right here where I soldered, I think the wires are coming loose again. And it's just causing it to not respond anymore. Because it was responding, and now it's not. Come on. Up there it goes. Yeah, there we are. Slight delay still for some reason. So that was likely, actually, I imagine the delay is probably due to the condition of how the wiring was. I had to do a patchwork fix job for that because these things actually came loose from their headers. I'll probably show that somewhere on the screen. Just it was a quick and dirty soldering job just to get this thing back into working order. It is not the best soldering job you've ever seen, but you know, it's mostly functional. Anyway, let's go for it again and hope it actually works. Nope. All right, what's up, with you, buddy? There we go. It's just not going to function. As you can see right there, it's not really functioning. It's going to do that. It's kind of wanting to function, but it's not really. There we go. All right. Now, once again, PWM down to 0. And that right there is also a perfect example of the less than stellar reading sensitivity from the components right there on full display. Because this is turned all the way to what should be 0, but isn't really. It's really just kind of picking a range from 0 to, I think the max I've seen for that turned all the way in this direction was like 10 or 15. So factor in the use of the button right here. You can kind of see it flickering this right here. Okay, motor. Very cool. But the code itself should be ready to go. I do have one of the two Gearbox motors. I'll put that on screen somewhere again just to remind you all what it's going to look like. I have that coming in finally. It should be here hopefully in the next few days. So I actually have something a little bit better to test out with instead of, well, this. And I do have a couple of work in progress videos as I'm troubleshooting this code. I did run into some issues beforehand as I was developing it to the point it is now. Now that's kind of how coding goes. A lot of troubleshooting, a lot of times when it should work and it doesn't, a lot of times it does work when it shouldn't. I pretty much experienced all that just to get to this point. Sometimes it seems really arbitrary. If anyone's ever had any experience with coding, you'll pretty much know what I'm talking about. But anyway, that's for now until those motors come in. That's pretty much kind of all I got for you, unless I can determine whether or not there are any other reasons why this thing might not be wanting to work. But I'm pretty certain it is just down to the wiring. It's just very thin gauge, very easy to break. I'd probably have to desolder and resolder it again and then test, and I'm just not really feeling like doing that with this motor. So, yeah, we'll just have to see on that one. In the meantime, enjoy the next couple of segments in this video that are showing the troubleshooting and frustrations that I had with this thing. And I'll see you in the next video. Actually, before I go, real quick, I will mention I'm going to try not to go too deep into specifics on the coding window here for the Arduino IDE. Now that's all this window is right here is the IDE workstation for Arduino. This is where all the code is. That's because I'm not an expert with Arduino. I'm not going to try to ever posit myself as an expert in Arduino. I'm just a hobbyist who likes messing around with it from time to time. But what I will do, any resources I use for any of these components, which is more than likely going to come from the Arduino forums, will be down in the description below, as well as any other sorts of wikis and stuff that kind of cover the coding elements that I use on screen here in far more depth than I could ever manage. And also, I just don't want to accidentally misinform anyone who's watching these videos in case y'all want to kind of test out a bunch of this stuff on your own. So yeah, I'll have those resources down in the description below, so that way people can be more informed and have a far better idea what's going on than I would be able to explain in these videos. So that is all I've got for now, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, y'all. Okay, so a slight addendum onto the update. I figured out what was wrong, I'm pretty certain. I believe I stated that my conditions right here should have all been right, and judging by further study into what's being printed onto the serial monitor, that turned out to be correct. All my conditions are fine. I believe the actual issue was I was just missing a single wire. Go figure. Something as small as that can cause serious issues everywhere else. When an issue with the solders, those still work. The DC motor still works. I tested that earlier just using the single power strip right here. It was literally just one missing wire. That would cause it to intermittently work and then suddenly quit. So let's do a quick demonstration here. And then the direction I was having issues getting to work. And pretty much, yeah, that's pretty much all I got. It's working in the full range that I was wanting it to work for both forward and reverse. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. It's now time to move on to the very next step, which will be adding in a pair of transceivers to separate potentiometer, joystick from the DC motor and the H-bridge. Those will be on separate breadboards, and I'll be coding the transceivers to send the data between each other to try to replicate the same effect. So now that is everything I got for this update. So I will see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye.